Hello, and we're back for part 2 of email tips. Okay, so as I said, in the body of your email, which we're right here, everything here is body, the hair, the bod, etc. All you parents out there will recognize that song lyric, and you're welcome. Anyway, so positive and brief, okay? Build some rapport real quick, but get right down to it. Why? Because anytime you receive something, well, they have a reason for writing, or if they don't, like, why are you wasting my time? It's just like when somebody calls on the phone and they're just kind of talking, and you're like, hey, like waiting for, why are you calling? Similarly, just make your positive part at the beginning fairly brief, but don't leave it out. Unless you really are trying to put them on their heels and there's some important reason to make them feel um, negative. But even there, first of all, it's always imperative to be gracious, you know. But even there, effectively, it will be good to say, hi, I hope you're doing well, period. Even something that brief is a great way to start the body of your email. And then paragraph. So I made these as paragraphs, right? And you would keep them aligned left here. Positive, something brief. Hope you're doing well. Of course, make sure when you're using contractions that you're aware of it and that you use the apostrophe there. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to touch base regarding the blah, 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 blah. Okay? That's just, of course, a touch base email, but you get that you have your positive and then something there. Okay, you could have 3 paragraphs worth of meat, as I call it here. Furthermore, as our fake writing continues. Furthermore, the Attorney General has advised blah 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 blah. So to wrap up, I hope that we can come to an understanding. I'm kind of mixing some genres, right? Okay, but then you end with something, again, if not positive, it's like you're here. In the valley is where you cover your meat. Now this isn't just to sort of flatter your recipient, because you don't want to be in any way dishonest, first of all, but second of all, people can see through that. So rather than that, the reason you have these, other than just being pleasant to deal with, is that, like many things, if you have bookends, if you have a beginning and an ending that sort of frame what you're saying or thinking or explaining, it makes what you have to say easier to remember and to focus on. This is a structure that will help your reader get what you're saying in your email. Okay, and also, meanwhile, just coming across as diplomatic and pleasant to be around, and which are things you want, especially in an email where you're trying to get something done. So then, um, even something as quick as, I'll put on my caps lock, have a great weekend. Depending on the level of familiarity you have with the person, starting and ending with something that they can, kind of get on your side with. We're planning to head out to the lake on the weekend. Hope you guys are going to have fun. Whatever, and then sign off. So your outro, again, just like your or not your outro, but signing off, just like your greeting. You could go anywhere from "Dear Mr. So and so, show up to court," to "Hey James," to So here it could go anywhere from "Sincerely," which is up there with the most formal, or "Regards," or something like that, or "Best regards" is a little further down. I often just say "best," and that's a pretty classic semi-professional, or it's professional but semi-formal conclusion. Those sorts of things. Or even if you're more friendly with your recipient, "Take care," or see you soon, right? You're getting the gist, or thanks. Thanks is a good general one. You can always have your own kind of signature sign off. That, and by signature, I don't mean, writing your signature, but I mean, I still to this day remember emails that I got, or, emails from people that I received 10 years ago. And specifically the salutation they use, right? So here, I remember one from somebody who passed away and who was relatively famous. He signed off cordially. You don't hear that too often. Nothing too exciting about it other than it's different. So you can think about that, and also you've got to know your industry. If you're working in with heavy machinery in a factory, the verbal niceties might go by the wayside, and in fact might come across as weird. That's fine. You've got to know your industry. On the other hand, if you're in design or fashion, having a little bit of an edge to what you do, or some sort of creative industry, is important. If you're in engineering, people are going to want to see that you're creating the shortest distance between points. And you might even skip the closing greeting and just end it with your name. You get the gist. Okay, now moving on. You should also have a signature that's replicable in your email. You can do this in Gmail. You could have a pretty elaborate signature just in your Gmail that explains kind of who you are, gives you some or gives your reader some information. But here's another reason you should have a signature. You notice that I've closed out my email and I say Best James or whatever I'm going to do. The CEO at the first the first consulting firm I worked for years and years ago said, well, here's why you need a signature. He cared a lot about emails. Because what it allows you to do is to close like this, and then you have your signature here. Well, that leaves a nice little space for a PS. Hope you've enjoyed a free trial of... So we've got all sorts of things going on here. Lawsuits, sales, whatever. But you get the point. Having the signature as a separate block, that you don't just use that to end your email, but that you sign off with your name written up earlier, that gives you space to write a PS that's still framed within the format of your email. Okay, so there's some tips. I'm going to close it out here. So again, this is perhaps the most important written form of communication that you will have in your business life. You'll create big documents that will also be important, like business plans and things like that. But day to day, almost nothing beats email. And I would add text. That more and more is taking the place of those quick emails. And maybe we'll save that for another video. Don't relegate texts to illiteracy in your professional communication. Use some of these tips for text. Of course, more truncated. You can fill in the gaps. And the final thing I want to say is this. This is a bit of advice that was given to me, I think here, 24 years ago. Before the internet was even really a thing, although it was around, dial-up, of course. And it was namely this: anything that you write down is forever. And of course, the unending news cycles in the last year have proven that point. Whether it's forever, the ramifications of what you write are forever. And that doesn't just go for emails, but especially for emails. If you send an email and then you delete it, it's there forever, for the most part. Of course, there might be some ways to get around that. The point is, always think about anything that you write down, every comment you write on social media, every email you send, every text you send. Somebody, especially now, 20 years from now, could be reading that and be amused or dismayed. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed these tips, and thanks for being in class. Bye.